welcome everyone. I'm Megan Levan and I am a freshman here at Wesleyan, and I'm currently studying Arabic, and I studied Spanish last semester, and next year I will be studying Hindi Urdu as well.
My name's Andrew Fleming. I'm a junior at Wesleyan, and I study Spanish and then also a lot of linguistics.
And we're super excited to be here tonight with our amazing alumni. We have a couple questions prepared for them, and we also ask that you think of your own questions as we go through this. We're going to have some time for Q&A at the end. But first we'll just start off with a brief introduction from everyone. So if we could just go down the line and hear names, languages that you speak, studied at Wesleyan, how you use your languages in your day-to-day life, and maybe just some kind of funny language learning experience or study abroad experience maybe that you've had. Sorry, that's a lot, I know. If you can't remember it all, that is okay.
Okay, hello, my name is Emma Kemmler. I graduated in 2015. I studied Spanish while I was at Wesleyan, and I am currently a Spanish teacher in New York City. A funny, interesting event that happened. I have to think about that one. Come back to me later.
Hi everybody, my name is Max Hadler. I graduated from Wesleyan in 2003, and I studied Spanish while I was here, and then subsequently studied Portuguese and Quechua, which is an Andean indigenous language. And I now work as the Director of Health Policy at the New York Immigration Coalition, so we do policy and advocacy work kind of at this intersection of immigration policy and health policy, and it comes from work that I did previously as an interpreter in a hospital. So I was previously using language every single day, and now I use Spanish and Portuguese to a lesser degree, but I'll do a lot of direct community engagement work outside of our political advocacy with immigrant communities across New York City and across the state. Oh, and a funny thing from language. I thought it was really, really funny at the time, and that now I just think of it as being really useful, but the person who was most influential on me in studying language at Wesleyan was Bo Khan, who's sitting right there. I can't actually reproduce them, but maybe you could reproduce it for all of us later, these sort of rapid fire repetitions of verb conjugations and these things that at the time was really, really funny, but I remember it being really helpful when I studied abroad and lived abroad and worked on it and just could bring these things back instantly. So it was funny, but also very useful.
I'm Ruthie Lazenby. I graduated from Wesleyan in 2010, and I studied French and a little bit of Arabic when I was a student here. I've had two pretty distinct career trajectories since graduating. I spent about 4 or 5 years working in the cheese industry, and I used my French quite a bit in that context, and I'm now a law student. I'll be graduating in a couple of weeks, which will be great. And I was sort of surprised, but I've used my French a lot in law school. I go to school just on the road at Yale, and I work for New Haven Legal Assistance quite a bit. And they had a great need for French interpreters, specifically for West African and some Haitian clients. And so I've spent a lot of time using my French in that context. And this is more delightful than funny, but I'm back in sort of the college student role because I'm studying Spanish currently at Yale College, which is great. I'm a beginner. I'm taking it with a bunch of 18-year-olds, and it's wonderful. I find it funny that I'm there 5 days a week with my new friends. But
Hi, I'm Judy Duran. I graduated in 2013. When I was here, I studied Korean, Mandarin Chinese, and ASL. Right now, I am an ELD teacher, English Language Development teacher at a middle school in California. About the funny story, I'll pass on that. I can't think of one right now, so I'll pass on that.
Okay, we'll skip to Erin, and Molly, then we come back on. Hi, Erin.
My turn?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I had to teach this afternoon, and I'm in Ohio, so make it. My name is Aaron Shield. I graduated in '99, so when I saw all the bios on the panel, I was surprised that I would be the old man on the panel, but here I am. I majored in Italian studies at Wesleyan and also studied French, Portuguese, and Hebrew while there, and now I do research on American Sign Language as a professor of mythology at university. And I couldn't think of a story. I just texted my husband to ask him what my story would be, and I haven't heard back from him. So,
Okay, Molly?
Alright, so I'm Molly. The reason I'm come is because I live in Russia, which is what I studied at Wesleyan. So I'm from across the country. Like I said, I studied Russian literature at Wesleyan, Russian history, and Russian language. And right after graduation, I moved to St. Petersburg 3 years ago, and I left. I guess my funny story is that I started learning Russian to read Anna Karenina 5 years ago. And even though now in every day, right? Never read Anna Karenina. It's so long.
Hi, my name is Austin Barvin. I graduated in 2015 in Russian Studies, and I took Russian for 3 years here and German for 1. Right after graduation, I got my graduate degree in DC in International Affairs, and while I was doing that, I interned at the U.S.-Russia Business Council, where I translated Russian business or industry news into English and then submitted it around the company so they could read it daily. And now I work at the Government Accountability Office as an analyst for the Defense Management and Capabilities team. We basically just audit DoD. And then a funny story, in Russia when I was studying abroad, there was a woman that had a pet ferret, and I asked her what I thought was, can I pet your ferret? But in slang, it meant something inappropriate. That was unfortunate.
Hi, my name is Isabella Corletto. I graduated last year, and I graduated with a double major in English and Italian studies. Since graduating, I moved to New York and completed the Columbia Publishing course, and since then have been doing several different things in the publishing industry, and I've wound up doing a lot of work with literature and translation. I was interning and now freelance for a literary scouting company where I've been reading for them in English, Spanish, and Italian to recommend books to their clients who are publishers around the world who want to know what to translate. And I'm also working at a literary agency now that represents mostly Latin American authors that are writing in Spanish, Portuguese, or English to get them published here in the US and also translated throughout the world. And as for a funny story, I can't remember anything particular, but I do remember while being abroad in Bologna, always having, speaking with my roommates who were all Italian, always making little mistakes or kind of like not knowing exactly how to say a word, and I remember telling them that it felt like the entire semester had been one long game of taboo. Because I wouldn't know the particular words, but I would have to be describing what I meant, and they would kind of fill in the blanks when I didn't know a word.
Hi, my name is Lucy. I graduated in 2017. I majored in film studies and I minored in East Asian studies. I studied Japanese here. Since graduating, I manage PR at G Kids, which is a film distribution company. So we handle North American distribution for a host of international and independent animated feature films, such as like the Studio Ghibli Library of Films, as well as a host of other international animation. Most recently, we worked on Mamoru Hosoda's Mirai, which brought us over to the Oscars, which was very fun. A fun language story. when I was studying abroad in Japan, my host mother, unbeknownst to me, entered me in a sports competition. And I did not know what sport I was competing in. I just knew that I had a sports competition coming up. And was far too embarrassed to ask, so showed up and ended up running in a relay race.
Good afternoon, my name is Cora Shin. I graduated from Wesleyan in 2010 and I majored in Italian Studies and Government with a concentration in International Politics. So I, without a doubt, I think am from the furthest away in that I work down the street in the Office of Admission here at Wesleyan, and I've been here since 2011. I'm a part of the international recruitment team there, and so I do use some of my Korean, I should have mentioned, along with Italian studies, I also did study Korean here at Wesleyan, and so I do use some of my Korean experience in my day-to-day work because I have East Asia and Southeast Asia as part of my recruitment responsibilities, and I wish I used my Italian a little bit more. I wish we actively recruited in Italy and then they could send me over there, but you know, that hasn't happened just yet, but you know, it's been nice to continue having relationships with my friends from when I studied abroad 12 years ago. Funny story, I don't think this is necessarily funny, but I think it's kind of a cool story. So I took at the University of Bologna a politics and systems of East Asia class when I was studying abroad there, and that was the fall semester of my junior year. That following summer, I spent it in South Korea. I was doing a couple of internships there, and my Unibo professor was in Seoul for a conference, and so we ended up connecting that summer. He took me out to dinner, and it was really just a wonderful way to bring two of my very different language and cultural experiences together. Thank you for having me.